cholesterol, hemoglobin, weight management, and more. Free medical guidance, doctors, nurses, medical technicians, free glucometers, blood pressure monitors, subject to conditions. Save the date March 1. See you at Cost You Less West Bay Road, A.L. Thompson's Home Depot, Foster's Airport, Foster's West Bay, Savannah United Church. The Rotary Central Health Check 25 Lifesaver, March 1st. Supported by the Lions Club of Tropical Gardens and the Health Services Authority of the Cayman Islands, knowing changes everything.
Radio Cayman's Historical Vignettes was brought to you by Rotary Central. For more than 110 years, Rotary members have used their passion, energy, and intelligence to take action on sustainable projects.
Talk Today is brought to you by Subway, open 24 hours in Countryside, Anderson Square in Georgetown, and Centennial Towers in West Bay. And by the Ministry of District Administration, explore your history, explore your land, explore your sister islands. And Cayman Airways, call them on 949-2311 to book your nonstop flights to Los Angeles and Panama. And Doctors Hospital, peace of mind is important when life happens. Doctors Hospital, always there for you. Call 949-6066.
But I do have some questions.
There are more questions than answers.
Cayman Islands' foremost listeners' participation program.
Talk Today.
What is on your mind, Cayman? If you are ready to talk, we are ready to listen. Here's your host, Sterling Dwayne Ebanks.
Hey, welcome. Thanks for joining us. Truly magnificent Monday. We get a chance to start things off with not just the fantastic Reagan Raleigh, but her chaperone, Miss Derry. So, chance to share, to be motivated, and we want you to be invited to be a part of a conversation. So stay tuned for Talk Today.
Avoid any statements or comments which are abusive, derogatory, malicious, or defamatory. Do not use indecent language or make any statement that is false or misleading. Call 1-800-534-8255, 949-6990, 949-8037, or WhatsApp us on 925-3261.
Email Talk Today at candw.ky. Let your voice be heard.
And now, back to Sterling Dwayne Ebanks. Radio Cayman Talk Today.
Hey, welcome back. Thanks for joining us, and we invite you to be a part of the discussion. Always a pleasure to not just sit and facilitate, but to be able to live, love, laugh, and sometimes learn, but man, to be included so I can see the positive, wonderful things that unfold in our society. And to Ms. Derry, you and men like you have been not just great chaperones, but you have been there assisting, enabling, ensuring that our young ladies in particular, not just nurtured, but they get to excel. So thank you.
Thank you very much. It is not just, I always tell people, it's not just the prestige that comes with the Miss Universe Cayman Islands pageant, or any pageant for that, but obviously this is the one that I'm the national director of. But it is an empowerment platform, and it is a platform that, a lot of young ladies have used to propel them to the next level in their lives, and it just becomes that threshold to their future. And it's so rewarding.
Mm-hmm.
It's rewarding to all of us, but in particular, it's rewarding to me because you sort of see them when they on board, and we're kicking off we have kicked off the recruitment, and then the transformation. Pageant night is absolutely amazing. And then you see them, even after that, because it builds their self-confidence, and they're able to elevate themselves as they go through whatever, career they chose. So it's certainly a great platform that I would encourage any lady that's, looking to enter but a bit hesitant. We've kicked off our recruitment, and so they can apply to be the next Miss Universe Cayman Islands. And Reagan can tell you all about her journey to the crown, and even after the crown, and her journey to Miss Universe and thereafter, and her plans for the future as well. But yes, we've kicked off the recruitment, and they can, any lady can, I would say young, but now it's open, there's no age limit. It's open to women with kids, married women, even pregnant women, from what I can understand. So
sorry, can they be a pregnant man? I'm just kidding. I find that weird, but anyway.
Yeah, it certainly has changed. And so, yes, we want to encourage you to apply at www.misskimanatlensuniverse.com or email us at misskmaninfo@gmail.com.
All right. Well, I certainly want you to tell us more about how to apply and when and all those things. But to Miss Universe Kimberly, Miss Reagan Reddy, how are you?
I'm great. How are you?
You know, I'm so glad that every day thus far, and hope it continues for another 100 years. God wakes me up.
There you go.
Make sure that I can smile and enjoy and embrace and even know that there are things that I'm strong enough to endure. So I'm good.
Great.
Just good.
That's a good
Well,
way to start off a
motivational
Monday.
There it is. But that's what life is.
Need
Right?
some of that. I want some of that.
Hey,
We need some of that positive energy all the time around us.
in a season, I looked at my father and recognizing that, and I say this publicly, and this is when we were at the National Gallery and I listened to all the young ladies speak. It was a time I thought it would be nice to be a judge, but I would not want to be. Because every single one of you, I use the word winners, you're not just motivating, you're motivated. You're not just inspiring, you've been inspired. But above all, you're reminding us that in us, if we as the adult, from the parent to the older sibling, to the coach, to the teacher, look at the humanity of what exists, we'll have a fantastic place. And this is easy to be positive. We live in a most marvelous place,
You're
as Billy
absolutely
Crystal will say.
correct.
We just need to embrace it, man, and allow it to be championed and celebrated.
Yeah.
Yes.
And we have some wonderful people here, like yourself.
Thank you.
And always, I just want to give a shout out to Radio Cayman for always supporting us
Yeah, well,
for many,
that's
many
easy.
years.
Yeah.
And you all are very accommodating at any time. Thank you.
Miss Anita, you thanks.
Big up to Susan and Anita, Miss
Yeah.
Paulette.
Yeah, it's amazing. But that's because you're doing it in love. You're doing it willingly. There's no hidden agenda. There's no ulterior motive. To see a young person, but a young lady, be able to not just achieve and attain whatever her aspirations may be, but to know that she can. And to recognize that even today, 2025, there are people, but women in particular, who can't,
Yeah.
who are told that they can, who are denied. Really? What year is this again?
It's 2025.
And yet the Cayman that I know from historical but also actual participating and observing, it's never been the Miss Georgettes, right? And the Miss Francines and the many others, from my mother included. Those women didn't know hair, and they persevered, and they really have set the stages. Kind of what I was thinking of earlier as our discussion. You come from an amazing stock of people, but amazing stock of women.
Yes, absolutely. We're truly blessed to live in the Cayman Islands, and I always say what makes Cayman so special is we're tiny, but we're mighty. There is so much history that needs to be made. There's so many records that need to be broken, and it's up to us to tap into that natural talent that we have here. But you're also right in that I was blessed to be raised in a household that supported my dreams, whether they were as crazy and rare as going to the Olympics or crazy and rare as going to the Miss Universe pageant. My family always gave me a sense of confidence that you can achieve anything that you want to believe, but it's up to you to work hard and go after that. But going off of the working hard, going off of the instilling a sense of Caymanian pride and talking about strong women, I don't think a lot of people know that it was my great-grandmothers that signed the women's suffrage document that allowed us to vote and run for politics as females. So not only have I been able to be blessed by being surrounded and talked about these strong women, but they're Caymanian women. I think that just raises the bar exponentially.
And even though, and I keep telling people all the time, they say they don't like politics. I say, well, that means you don't really care about your future, your personal future, because politics. Anybody met to church? Lots of politics there. You ever been in PTA? Lots. Or you got a family? Lot of politics. You work somewhere? However you define that, it's political, right? And it doesn't have to be ritual, divisive. Well, like with Reagan, just observation of you from gymnastics, with my daughter and everybody else, but that positivity, but recognizing the contributions of your women in your life, right?
Mm-hmm.
The Caymanian women who signed that, who agitated, if you want to say, they achieved something that wasn't very much long after the women in America did, you know. A larger nation, much more organized, and the women in Cayman got the right to vote not very long after that.
Mm-hmm.
Think about that significance. I'll challenge you. I hear it oftentimes, and I used to say it, so I'm beginning to rethink it.
Mm-hmm.
I would say, where's Cayman on the map? It's not even a speck.
Mm-hmm.
Some maps never had us, right?
Yeah.
And that physical, small size geographically is phenomenal when you think of the geopolitical landscape, the contribution to maritime.
Absolutely.
If two civil servants would allow me to highlight them, just to Mr. Walton over at Cayman Shipping and Mr. Smith over at the Civil Aviation,
Mm-hmm.
their names are respected globally because of their prowess. Not unlike the seafarers of yesteryear, our fathers in some cases.
Right.
So we need to appreciate that, yes, maybe only a few of us, but man, we have made and continue to make.
We've made a name for ourselves, for sure.
And that's why we draw alongside you and others to champion, to celebrate, but also to ensure that you are given that stage, because like them, right? If we think of today, Ministerial and Financial Services, we lead because of the innovation, the robustness of our legislation, the acumen that we have in our people. A young person like, Ms. Reagan, hey, there is going to be amazing. What the future can hold for us, man.
Let me tell you, she has been absolutely amazing. The committee, we're very proud of her.
Uh-huh.
And whenever she speaks, it's just so, a lot resonates. People can relate to her.
Mm-hmm.
And she's just really, really well-rounded.
Well, I'm so excited to get into the discussion. Well, let us just quickly pause.
Mm-hmm.
We can talk more about the recruitment. Tell us about your journey. Could we ask, and if you feel inclined, maybe you'll answer. It's future plans, right? But we want to hear what it was like. That'd be fine.
Absolutely.
All right. For our listeners, after the headlines are one, our friends over at the Education Ministry, including the Acting Chief Officer, the Director, they'll join us. That Education Data Report is out. Well, we want to hear about that. So stay tuned for Talk Today.
Stay cyber secure with Cayman National. Here are a few tips that will benefit you. Ensure to log out completely when you finish any online banking activities. Be aware of phishing attempts and only click links from trusted sources that are sent from your device through emails and messages. Remember, Cayman National will never ask you for your credentials. If you suspect a fraud attempt or that your account has been compromised, please immediately contact our customer support team at 949-8300.
Shipping to the Cayman Islands is fast, reliable, and seamless thanks to Cayman Airways Cargo. Need it faster than ocean freight? Cayman Airways Cargo offers multiple cargo flights to Grand Cayman from Miami weekly, so your packages, whether big, small, or in between, will arrive in no time. You can even use a Cayman Airways Cargo US address for your online shopping. Cayman Airways Cargo is also the only carrier providing air freight services for Cayman Brac and Little Cayman. Contact us today and see why Cayman Airways Cargo was voted as Cayman's best cargo and logistics company in the Best of Cayman Awards. For details, visit CaymanAirways.com/cargo.
Did you know ordering your favorite sandwich from Subway just got easier? Yeah, picture this. No more waiting in line. No more fussing with cash. Just a delicious taste of Subway at your fingertips. With our new app, ordering your go-to sub is as easy as a few taps on your phone. Plus, receive exclusive deals and earn loyalty points with every purchase made on the app. Download the new Subway app today and get ready to ditch the lines and drive straight into your flavor. Visit the App Store or Google Play Store on your mobile phone and search for Subway Cayman Islands. Subway. Eat fresh.
Wouldn't it have been grand if you had purchased land 30 years ago? It may not be 2020, but a perfect vision has never been more clear. Cayman Brac and Little Cayman, poised for growth with an eye on the future. Your land, your history, your future. Discover all that our sister islands have to offer.
Now, more than ever, supporting your immune system is crucial to helping your body fight off illnesses like the common cold, the flu, and COVID-19. At Valley Med Pharmacy on Walkers Road and in Boddentown, we carry all the essential vitamins and minerals to help support your immune system and improve your overall health. Some of our top immunity support picks are vitamin C, vitamin D, zinc, elderberry, and quercetin, or the popular 7-in-1 immunity support. Our pharmacists are always on hand to help guide you and answer any questions. Visit Valley Med Pharmacy on Walkers Road or Boddentown. Live happy, live healthy with Valley Med Pharmacy.
Get your tickets now for Grand Cayman's biggest one-day family fun day, the 56th Annual Agricultural Show at the Stacey Wattler Agricultural Pavilion in Lower Valley, Ash Wednesday, March 5th. Raffle tickets are on sale now at eventpro.ky and include general admission to the show. Not one, but two $10,000 grand prizes. All the fun, all the entertainment, the food, the animals, the plants, and homemade goodies. Get your raffle tickets now at eventpro.ky. The 56th Annual Agricultural Show, Ash Wednesday, March 5th.
Radio Cayman's Talk Today. What is on your mind, Cayman?
Hey, welcome back, and thanks to Miss Derry for joining us, and to Mr. Universe Cayman's, Miss Reagan, ready for share with us, hopefully through you, whether it's pageantry, whether it's that person who say, you know what, I have this artistic endeavor. Maybe it's an entrepreneurial sort of approach. Maybe the person is retired, 50, 60, 70 years old, deciding, I've always wanted to pursue this, back to school. We can find inspiration and be motivated. If I might, Ms. Reagan, to you first. Those of us who know of you, those who've watched you, have always been, can see that there's greatness, in your destiny.
Thank you.
The pageantry. I mean, I know for those who've heard, but for those who haven't, why?
Sometimes I ask myself the same question on a tough day, but when you talk to people who are close to me who saw me growing up, I always had a goal, or I had a goal sheet, a dream sheet, whichever you would like to call it, and it was always be Cayman's first ever Olympic gymnast and be Miss Cayman. And I grew up very early on in life learning that I didn't want to live with regrets, because I always heard adults, oh, when I was your age, I wish I did this. Oh, if I had just done this, I would have ended up being this kind of person. And I think from a young age that the idea of living with a regret or a what if terrified me. So my first step was Olympics. I worked, did everything I could. I made it. And then when it came to Miss Cayman, I always wanted to be Miss Cayman, not just because the crown or the sash. Honestly, I don't think this is what makes a queen or what makes a Miss Cayman. I think it's what comes from inside. And I think the best example, or the woman that I always looked up to, was Monique Brooks, because she was so beautiful but inside and out, and she was so proud to be a Caymanian, and she showed that when she went to Miss Universe. She was a complete spokesperson and advocate and just a community leader. But what I just loved is that she was authentically herself. She never put on a mask. What you saw is what you got. And I said, when I enter Miss Cayman, what you see, Reagan Ruddy, it's going to be the same Reagan Ruddy Monday through Sunday, and it's going to repeat. I'm not going to change who I am ethically or who I am as a person. I'm just going to be the proud East Ender Bracker I am and just be the best version I can.
Yeah.
And so for me, I entered Miss Cayman because I also wanted to show people that, especially young women, that you can be more than one thing. I think a lot of times people place accomplishments, or they place personalities and people in a box that, people might look at you and say, you're only a radio host, but that's not true. So for me, I wanted to show people, I was an Olympian, but I can do way more, and I'm going to do way more, and I'm going to show it to you. So I just wanted to prove to everyone around Cayman and the universe that you can be more than one thing, and you can excel in more than one thing.
Yeah, thank you. And this is where there is, we listen. It's to thine own self be true, but it's not just originality; it's authenticity. To be able to know at the end of the day that yes, in prayer, for that it may not be, but hunger may keep you awake, but not your conscience is what I live by. That thing which you do, you must be able to know that you've done your best.
Yeah.
You've done your best for others, to others. There are many of us who will happily get ahead at someone's expense. Let's not be that person. So there, with that, you're looking for what in your, in your recruitment drive, your next group of cohort. I mean, what are you looking for?
Well, you talked about women, and they reach a certain age. Reagan mentioned, and look back and like, oh, I wish I'd done this or whatever. I think in life, we have to have a purpose. And we have to have a purpose. We have to know, what it is that we want with our life, what is going to fulfill us.
Mhm.
And we have to set goals. And if your goal is to be on the world stage or even on the local stage and, represent yourself and other women and just try to be the best version of yourself, then do it. I don't think age really matters. Age should not limit you.
Mhm.
If you want to go back, I don't know, to university, or if you want to join the Miss Universe Cayman Islands pageant, I don't think, and a lot of times I think it's just society just
Yeah.
put a limit on, women in particular. When you reach a certain age, or you're not supposed to be doing this, or you're not supposed to be saying this, or you're not supposed to be, it's almost like, I find, probably in the Caribbean more so, that when you reach maybe 30, 35, 40, it's like, okay, now you need to just like probably just sit back and relax a bit, or even 50. I had someone say to me, you're winding down now. No, I'm just getting started. I'm just getting started.
Still find a groove, huh?
Yeah, absolutely. So I don't think that, I would just, we're looking for young women with a purpose, and certainly with self-confidence, and just that, positivity to just continue to strive for excellence. And just a well-rounded, great personality, not just beautiful on the outside, but beautiful on the inside. And of course, there's always the background checks that we have to do now with the, to make sure that there's no police record, there are no pending charges and all that stuff. So, we've just really buckled down on that a lot, doing our background checks as well, social media checks, just to make sure that their social media is clean. Because obviously that's going to tell the story of who you are, right? A lot of times, because, people post sometimes almost everything these days. Their thoughts, who they were back 10 years ago when they first joined social media. I mean, we all change, but, so that's very important to us. And somebody just that would be an excellent ambassador for the Cayman Islands. I know Reagan had said earlier about... just kind of like putting yourself in a box. And we put people in a box. I know we have a photographer, and just yesterday for the Miss, he'll come and help us out sometimes at the pageant events. And we were talking, and he said to me, you must be so busy. And I said, yes, and I have a full-time job. But this one, I'm passionate about also, and it's rewarding and so forth. And he said, yes, me too. And aside from this, and I'm like, really? And the whole time I kind of thought he was just this, photographer, just wandering around with his camera, just taking amazing photos. And he said, well, I'm a teacher.
Wow.
And I work with kids with disabilities. And I was a fireman in the United States, and I traveled the world, and I did this and that. I'm like, wow. And already, we had kind of put him in a box of just being a photographer. But here is this man that, he has a whole other realm of greatness around him that he's doing. He's giving back in other ways as well. So, I think it's so important.
I think as I listened to you, immediately the first thing that reminded me, and one of the beautiful things about living in Cayman is that you can get to meet and know almost any and everybody from everywhere.
Yes.
And what the late Desmond Seals front page of all the things that may have transpired, what I liked about it, was always one little piece on the left side of the column, about the people living in Cayman. Everyone. I don't think there was ever an article that didn't. One of the things I liked about Cayman, safe place to raise their families. This wonderful place. With that, from what you shared, we in Cayman don't always appreciate that. To your example, and not just using specific, but just generalizing, someone can come here, be many things, but get to pursue their passion, whether it's in the arts, whether it's in a sport, whether it's a new business. And that opportunity is afforded to them. We accommodate, we assist in every which way. We need to do the same for our own.
Yeah.
We find it, for some reason, challenging. That's why like Reagan, you uplift, you inspiring, but you're positive, and you have your goals, right? What do they say? Dream more while you're awake.
Yeah.
The rest of it might just be a nightmare if your eyes are closed, right? What do you say to the next cohort? That young lady who's a bit shy, the one who may be full of confidence, which is great. But what do you say to them to make them come on the stage and not just wear the crown, but wear the crown of life?
There are so many things that I could say to them, and I think the one that comes first to my head is, and I've said this from the time I was 17 doing gymnastics, because I recognize exactly what you said. There is so much untapped talent that is in our country, but I've said from day one, just because we come from a small country doesn't mean you can't accomplish big things. And I think it's just so important for people. I mean, Jordan Crooks is almost the perfect example of, he grew up here, swam in our waters, and he's out there breaking world records. You have other people going out, the man that just auditioned for X Factor or the singing show, and they're all homegrown Caymanians. And I think it's important that as a society that we don't say like, oh, you got to go overseas to if you want to accomplish that. Oh, you it's okay, you know, maybe just try. You could be mediocre. There's no reason why we can't be excellent at what we want to do. But I think if anyone is doubting their abilities, doubting their future, I always say this. I have two quotes. Don't come this far to only come this far. You've already lived through the hardest and worst day of your life, but also you are smarter than you think, you're braver than you believe, and you're stronger than you seem. I think a lot of times we doubt our abilities and we even doubt other people's abilities, but in life, there's always going to be one voice that believes in you, and it has to be yourself.
If there's no other, right? And you have to. I like that, but it's also this notion of the big fish in a small pond.
Yes.
We allow others to come and they become the big fish in a small pond. Now, we may be great here amongst our classmates. We're getting A's. On the world stage, we may have to work a little harder because it's a bigger pool. That's fine. But to your point, I've always asked, why can't we see that in the Cayman context, you got 1 in maybe 10, 1 maybe in 1,000. In another part of the world, that's 1 in 1,000,000, 1 in 10 million.
Right.
That want that volunteering job, that want that scholarship, that want that place at that position. We can easily identify, or should more easily be able to, that one and harness it, develop it. But we castigate it. And we allow ours here to do the same. But yet the big fish in the small pond, when the person comes from elsewhere with a little bit of skill sets, a little bit of aspirations, a little bit of, you know, drive for something, they can excel. Why can't we do the same for ourselves? For our own?
You're getting political now.
Again, life is politics and politics in life. Yes. But thank you. If it is,
but no, you know, we had that conversation earlier before we started about anything can be political. Huh? We're just sitting here talking, the churches, you know, and a family, pageants, the government. You know, it's just universal. So, but I absolutely agree. I absolutely agree. 1,000%. Yes, we need to encourage our own.
That's right.
And we need to elevate our own. We need to put our own first. You know, as well. That's why, obviously, for this pageant, you have to be Caymanian. You know, or have Caymanian status. But you know, it is what it is, huh?
If it wasn't you, I'd have a lot of fun asking many questions, but I won't do that.
I'm not a politician, but I'm just going with the flow.
Neither am I.
Yeah, you gotta have Caymanian status. It's just all, you know, trickling down from the Miss Universe organization.
No, I would joke and say, is it only open to women, or can men apply? But
you want to have a Mr. Cayman then?
No. I'm just no. I won't get into that unless it's another time, another space. But what I want us to do is to recognize we have great people.
Absolutely.
Right? Great people who come on the stage, like Miss Reagan. Great people who are ensuring the stage is there, like you, Miss Derry, and others, right? And that's what we need. There's some people in this country that are just amazing. And you would not know that their ancestral roots go back, you know, or you would not know that they've only been here for 10, 15 years or a bit. They're just wonderful people. Thankfully, they're more like that. We just need to ensure that we...
And they come here and they guess that they really want the best for the island. So that's, I guess, you know, that's good.
It's a beautiful place. Sorry,
No, I was just going to say, like, I think a lot of times people in Cayman are quick to judge. They're quick to be critical. I mean, even for me personally, I would say, you know, I really want to go to St. Like, Chow, what you thinking? I want to be Miss Cayman. Girl, you wear Crocs and you wear leotard. I think so many Caymanians, when someone else is ambitious, I think it intimidates them, but I think as a society and as a country and our leaders, whether it's teachers, politicians, or committee members, whoever it might be, a coach, you have to celebrate the little victories because it's a ladder. You have to climb the step, and sometimes you might fall down, but as a country and as a people, we have to come together to celebrate the little victories of our Caymanian people.
Absolutely, absolutely. And I mean, it starts here right at home. You know, we can't be watching the Super Bowl and like, oh my God, this team or whatever. Celebrate your people, celebrate the football, team here. See what you could do to help, get funding for them to become great.
And that's kind of why I
or greater, I should say, because you do have some really good football. And my son, he's played football for many years. He was goalkeeper of the year at 17. You have some really, really good football players here, and a lot of excellent athletes and
across the board, without question, right?
And so I think we need to focus.
Indeed,
that focus need to.
And I think through you and all the others who have had the distinct privilege of interviewing as contestants and in a different pageants, you see an individual who comes in, and you can watch their growth in short order. You see people like you, Ms. Reagan, who come in, and it's probably the things that happen earlier on that gives you that sense of poise, grace, and confidence, right?
Right.
So it tells me that if we invest in them, if we nurture them, if we give them opportunities, we help to develop them.
Yeah.
Then when they get to this point, whatever this is, they've already had that little bit of, cutting your teeth, as they say in colloquial terms, right? And that's what we got to do.
I always say, leaders, whether you want to take it in a political aspect, whether you want to take it in a school, sports, you have to look at and I actually was telling Miss Derry this, I look at Miss Cayman, my job, as it's my child. I have to nurture it. I have to give it water. I have to care for it so that it can grow into this beautiful, strong thing. That's how I look at my role. And I think other people need to look at their own people or their own abilities, their own goals, and you have to keep the fire burning, and you can't do that alone. Sometimes you're going to have to, but you have to have that other oxygen coming in to help the embers burn.
Someone once said, I don't remember it exactly, but say when you fan the flames, is it to be able to keep the campfire light, or are you trying to, incite? Right. And when you fan it, you're giving that oxygen. You're making sure that there's warmth, there's something that can, heat the water, or keep the food at the firelight. What are we doing? What's our motivation? Sadly, it is often said it's the only flea that bites you the hardest. But let's draw inspiration from the Reagans of the world.
Oh, thank you.
Yes.
She didn't just stop at the Olympics.
Yeah.
But
that's
so,
it.
That's just the way I think people need to live their life. Don't just stop at the first goalpost. Just keep moving the target.
Keep
swimming.
Keep
swimming.
Just keep swimming.
I like that show, man.
So now this is me trying to burn the embers and inspire the next woman to be Miss Cayman, because it has truly changed my life. It has changed every other queen's life for the better. Even if you don't necessarily win the crown or sash, you can't lose, because you're going to learn how to develop your public speaking skills. You're going to learn how to walk in a room with confidence and elevate it to captivate the room. You're going to learn how to pose, how to dress with wardrobe, which is important if you want to go in the corporate and financial world. So if you are listening, I just would really encourage you to apply, at least go to orientation, because you never know where this role can take you.
If I may ask, and we'll wrap up our conversation shortly, because we want maybe to reinvite you on again. But
I would love to.
Yeah, always. I can see things unfolding. But Miss Derry, for the person, that young lady who's sitting there and thinking, what my thoughts were, always bring someone along. You might be the one thinking of it. She might be the one who end up. It might be both of you, but you have support. So two things: is that a good idea? And if so, when they come along, what questions do you want them to ask? What do you want them to make sure they leave knowing that it's been shared?
Well, I think for the orientation in particular, we just basically have our coaches and the contestants there, because at that time we would have sort of, vet them and so forth, and then they would have gone through that process of one-on-one interviews, sort of, and they could probably just bring their mentor or family member or whatever on that interview. So, but I would certainly, say that if you have family that are very supportive, then certainly, we have photo shoots and so forth at times that, in the past we were sort of like, okay, well, we don't want like 10 family members because it can be
That's
very
stressful.
distracting. But, obviously if you have that one or two family members or friend that's very supportive, certainly we welcome them. The questions, I guess, what can Miss Universe Cayman Islands pageant do for me?
Mm.
And I think we have a track record. If we look back at past queens, obviously Monique's, I guess one of her role models is Monique Brooks. And, if you look back at our past queens, they've all excelled. After the pageant, they've gone on to either own their own business or have key roles in or corporate or financial industry or another industry. So that in itself is a motivation, I feel. What is your purpose? Maybe you can find it here.
Mhm.
So that's another thing that we could help build your self-confidence and hopefully just shed some light on the path that you want to you travel, that kind of align you with
Right. So they have to apply or attend for the orientation?
Of course, the orientation is mandatory. Right now, we've kicked off our recruitment. So they go online and they just fill out a basic form that they're interested with their age, why do you want to enter the pageant, your name, obviously. And then we send the application to them and, we review that. It goes through a review process. Now, the deadline is the 14th of March. And so by then we would have known, like right now we have probably about 6 or 7 applicants already.
good.
Yeah.
So we've just, like I said, we've just kicked off recruitment. So that's really good. Sometimes people change their minds, but we'd like to have a conversation with you first. What I would like to encourage, and I think one of the maybe one of the something that has worked against us is that probably we need young women that really know what they want as well, because sometimes when you go over to the Miss Universe pageant, and I'm just being blunt here, you're up against countries that they've been training for this for years.
That's it. Yeah.
From time they were a little girl, they want this really bad. They want this. And so we saw that in Reagan. She just wanted to win. Yeah, you have, some ladies that enter a pageant and they want to win. But are you showing us that drive? What are you...
Do you have your passion?
Working out there in the community? What are you doing, to help us see that you really want it? So that's also very important.
Right. Well, we want to certainly make sure that you come back on between now and the 14th to have that appeal. And then at any and every opportunity that Ms. Reagan, you have, join us.
I would love to.
I could take a siesta and you could host the show. Just putting it out there.
The Reagan Way.
Yeah. She has her own podcast, by the way.
The Reagan Way on YouTube and Spotify.
See?
Yes.
Yes. you cool girl. but thank you both,
Yes.
right?
Thank you.
Truly continue to hold your head high. And
I just want to say one more thing. Sorry. I think a lot of people in Cayman think it's crazy for 28 and older women to apply because Cayman, we're sometimes a bit behind. But to anyone listening, majority of the girls at Miss Universe were 30 plus. So if you're intimidated by your age, it might work to your benefit.
Yeah.
Thanks, Rishna. I was going to mention something that.
Yeah.
Anyway, thank you.
Of course, I'll say it.
And I'd say it again, also let me just interject there, that this pageant is twofold because it's a tourism product where it helps you were talking about putting Cayman on the map for different reasons, and we put Cayman on the map for beauty and not just with our young ladies, but also the island and what we have to offer, as well as providing that young lady with that experience of a lifetime to be an ambassador, to help further her education by providing scholarships. Thanks so much to the Ministry of Tourism and to the Ministry of Border Control and Labor for employment grant that they give us, and so many other sponsors, Cayman Airways, that believe in us for so many years, Kurt Freeport. We just want to say a big thank you, Radio Cayman and Compass Media. Thank you all so much for believing in us and our ladies. I was going to say young ladies, but our ladies. Thank you so much.
What's the song? We believe in you. Well, we do.
Oh,
thank you so much.
Thank you.
And let us know how we can always be, any value as we uplift, encourage, nurture, but also ensure that they see that the potential is within them. It's great. So thanks.
Wonderful. God bless you, and may you have a wonderful week. I mean, you've kicked it off great because you're just so motivating. And this positive spirit going on.
That's it, man.
So,
That's it.
yeah.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.
It is good to share the love. All right. I'm going to pause and take that break, and when you return, we could get a chance to talk about the education data report for 2023-24 academic year. So stay tuned for Talk Today.
Accidents and illnesses can strike without warning. Ouch! When it comes to urgent care, every second counts. At Doctors Hospital, we have a dedicated team of experienced doctors and nursing staff available to you 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. Don't waste time in an overcrowded emergency room when you need urgent care. Whether it's a broken bone, a severe infection, or a sudden illness, trust in Doctors Hospital's unwavering dedication to providing the best immediate care. For complete urgent care when you need it the most, choose Doctors Hospital, located in Georgetown, 16 Middle Road.
Did you know ordering your favorite sandwich from Subway just got easier? Yeah, picture this. No more waiting in line. No more fussing with cash. Just a delicious taste of Subway at your fingertips. With our new app, ordering your go-to sub is as easy as a few taps on your phone. Plus, receive exclusive deals and earn loyalty points with every purchase made on the app. Download the new Subway app today and get ready to ditch the lines and drive straight into your flavor. Visit the App Store or Google Play Store on your mobile phone and search for Subway Cayman Islands. Subway. Eat fresh.
Stay cyber secure with Cayman National. Protect your computers and mobile devices with security software to defend against cyber attacks through viruses, malware, and other online threats. Be aware of unsecure Wi-Fi connections when in public. If you need to access your online banking or sensitive information on your mobile devices, try disabling the Wi-Fi and switching to data from your mobile network. If you suspect a fraud attempt, please contact our customer support team at 949-8300.
Did you know that you can send money transfers to financial institutions anywhere in Jamaica with JN Money?
You mean I can send money straight to my account and cut out the middleman?
Yes, that's exactly what I mean. You send your own money to your own account, giving you peace of mind that the money is in your account.
JN Money Transfers to Financial Institution is another convenient service offered by JN Money. You can have this done from any JN Money location. Deposit your money straight to your account without the hassle of asking someone to do it for you. JN Money Transfers to Financial Institutions, making life easier.
The 6:15 Weather Report, Monday through Friday, is proudly sponsored by CG Britcay. Insurance, health, pensions, life, where people come first.
The Cayman Islands Fire Service will be commencing comprehensive fire safety inspections across all public occupancy buildings. These inspections are in accordance with the Fire Safety Code and are critical in maintaining a safe environment. We appreciate the cooperation of all business owners, property managers, and the general public in this important initiative. Together, we can prevent fire-related incidents and enhance the overall safety of our community. For more information on the Fire Safety Code and what to expect during the inspections, please contact the Cayman Islands Fire Service Fire Prevention Unit at 949-2499 or email us at firesafetyinspections@gov.ky.
We are Radio Cayman,
covering Cayman Brac, Little Cayman, and Grand Cayman.
1 in a million. From Radio Cayman's newsroom, this is Headlines. Local, regional, international news.
The Headline News is brought to you by Kirk Market and Health Services Authority.
With a look at your latest headlines, I'm Dwayne Ebanks. The murder trial of Lindsay Kirk Watler, accused of killing George Ian Duffel in October 2022, resumes today. Watler, who denies the charge, took the stand on Friday to testify in his own defense. He asserted that he did not kill Duffel, but admitted to past altercations with Duffel over an alleged stolen phone. Initially, Watler told police he didn't see Duffel on the day of the incident, but on the stand he recanted, claiming he was threatened by a man with a firearm at his Bodentown home. The trial proceeds today in the main court building. In regional news, in Bahamas, a high court judge has sentenced a 37-year-old father to 5 years in jail for sexually abusing his 3-year-old twin daughters. The judge rejected pleas for a lesser sentence, citing a serious breach of trust. The father, who faced a maximum of 8 years, was arrested in August 2024. The judge emphasized the importance of a child's trust in their father and recommended counseling and psychiatric treatment for the father. The Guyana Fire Service is urging the public to adopt fire prevention measures and to ensure proper electrical maintenance following a fatal fire that killed 2 people, including a teacher, on Sunday. Despite a rapid response, the fire at the East Bank Esquibo claimed the lives of Hansaraj Nareen, 57, and Himweti Nareen, 52. Preliminary investigations attribute the fire to a slack electrical connection. Home Affairs Minister Robinson Ben and Chief Fire Officer Gregory Wickham extended their condolences and emphasized the importance of fire safety. That is your latest headlines. I'm Jevi Ebanks.
More news available at www.radiocayman.gov.ky. Check out our social media pages: Facebook, YouTube, X, formerly Twitter. Radio Cayman Headline News.
Looking for fresh, healthy food that's full of flavor? Then you've got to visit Kirk Market. Our dishes are made with fresh, high-quality ingredients. Enjoy vibrant mixed greens or satisfying pasta salads. Or try one of our delicious grill options like blackened chicken, spicy beef steak, or grilled salmon. Looking for something light and flavorful? We've got sushi rolls and poke bowls prepared daily. And don't forget to explore a hot bar or Billy Fresh salad at the salad bar. Stop by Kirk Market today for breakfast, lunch, or dinner and taste the difference. Eat well, live well with Kirk Market.
Do you have a healthcare question but not sure who to ask? Contact HSA's Patient Call Center to speak to one of our experienced clinical team members. We are here to answer your questions and help guide you through your healthcare journey. Need to make an appointment? Our team can help. Contact HSA at 949-8600 or email info@hsa.ky. At HSA, we are committed to caring for you.
Radio Cayman is pleased to feature this special Sister Islands historical vignette brought to you by the Ministry of District Administration and Lands. Explore your history, explore your land, explore your Sister Islands. Captain Keith Parker Tibbetts, MBE, JP. Captain Keith Parker Tibbetts, MBE, JP, was born at Cotton Tree Bay, Cayman Brac, on October 15, 1916, to James Nathaniel Tibbetts and Elsie Hulda Tibbetts, nee Hunter. He was a man of many talents. From shipbuilding, seafaring, a military career, a prosperous entrepreneur, and many decades of service to the people of Cayman Brac and the Cayman Islands as a whole. After serving as a member of the lawmaking body known as the Vestry from 1946 to 1968, he represented the Cayman Islands at the Commonwealth Parliamentary Association in Trinidad in 1968 and again in 1978. In 1969, he was appointed a JP. Then in 1976, he was elected to the Legislative Assembly for a 4-year term. Notably, the Cayman Brac representative petitioned the Legislative Assembly with names of over 400 Cayman Bracers, stating they wished to remain a crown colony rather than follow Jamaica's route of independence. In 1977, he represented the Cayman Islands at the Queen's Silver Jubilee in London. In 1988, he was made a member of the Order of the British Empire, MBE, among numerous other community awards, and served with many groups from Ebenezer Baptist Church to Education Councils, Veterans and Seamen's Society, CUC, and the Rotary Club of Cayman Brac. As a testimony of his contributions to his community and connection to sea and tourism, in 1996, shortly after his passing, a Russian destroyer was renamed the MV Captain Tibbetts in his honor and sunk in Cayman Brac waters by the Cayman Islands government to become a popular dive site. After a long and distinguished life of service to his community, he passed away on March 10, 1996. He was married to the late Hilary Elizabeth Marjorie Tibbetts, and together they had 5 children. This was part 7 of a special Sister Islands vignette series dedicated to Captain Keith Parker Tibbetts.
I'll be back. I've got 22 more days.
Radio Cayman is pleased to feature this special Sister Islands historical vignette brought to you by the Ministry of District Administration and Lands. Explore your history, explore your land, explore your Sister Islands.
Explore your history, explore your land, explore your Sister Islands, the ultimate staycation experience. Your culture, your freedom, the land that time forgot isn't gone. It's your Sister Islands.
Discover all that our Sister Islands have to offer.
Radio Cayman's Talk Today. What is on your mind, Cayman?
Hey, welcome back, and thanks very much for joining us. And always an opportunity to hear more and find out, in a very timely way about what's happening with our education, and to the Acting Chief Officer, Ms. Lynette Monteith. I thank you to the Ministry and to the Department of Education, but our teachers, educators throughout the islands for loving and nurturing, encouraging, inspiring, and ensuring that our children have that opportunity. So, welcome. Thank you.
So thank you for having us.
All right. Well, I would ask if you wish to, introduce them or let them do, but I see that face of, what will be the cover of either GQ or Essence magazine, Mr. Ray. Yeah. It could be. Yeah. Could be even Ebony. Who knows?
I don't know about that.
So, Director of Education Services, Mr. Mark Ray. Welcome, sir. How are you?
I am well. Thanks. Thanks for having us, and always good to be here to talk through some education matters. So we appreciate it.
Well, you're most welcome, and I'm going to ask you to help me to ensure in my sense of enthusiasm, and we get to what you need to discuss so that we as a people can always be informed, but also positioned so that the next iteration can be improved. I think with that, sort of the idea of data and testing, Mr. Hunt, Senior Manager, sometimes tests for us. It's good to test something, what Mr. Reagan used to tell Mr. Gorbachev, trust but verify. A test is great to acknowledge, to appreciate, but it's more than just testing. So at some point we want to talk to you about what testing means, and is it more than what the parents are demanding, of their child. You say you went to school, how come you didn't, where's that knowledge? So welcome, sir.
Thank you. Great to be here. Thank you for inviting us.
All right. Well, always a pleasure, and I say that with the greatest of love and respect, because we're all students. It doesn't matter our age and stage in life, we all can learn if we have a propensity, but also a desire. So, Ms. Lynette, from that idea, data and timely, accurate information that's disseminated is good, but it also has to be discussed, analyzed, critiqued. So, thanks for giving us the opportunity.
Okay, thank you to Dwayne for giving us this opportunity. So today we'll speak a little bit more about our 2023-2024 education data report that we will be publishing this week, later on in this week. But we wanted to join you to speak to some specifics, the trends that we're seeing from the last data report, and specifically to give an overview of enrollment data, attendance data, progress and attainment data, and particular the progress and attainment data for our two end stages, Key Stage 2, that's the year 6s going to high school, and Key Stage 4, those are our year 11, year 12s who are leaving secondary schools. And those are two very important benchmarks for our students and for us to discuss, because it does tell us about those students at that time and about the state of our education. And as I said before, our interview today will provide data for our discussion on our data for our public, may explain some of the data and what it means, and then explain some of the strategies that we're taking as a result of what we're seeing in the data.
But certainly, eager to listen and, without limited interjection, try to understand. So please share this, because having the report when it's published, there will be some of us who will look at it, maybe look at it as we would in relation to previous reports. There may be things. So those significant sort of, things that emanate, take us through it.
Yes,
what do you want to share?
So I'll start. Maybe I'll ask Mark to add a little bit, and then Mr. Hunter is the data man, so he will explain a little bit further what we're seeing in the 2023-2024 data report.
Sure. Yeah, so thanks again, Mr. Dwayne. I think importantly for us in education, you mentioned the fact that data is important, and it's important for a number of reasons. Obviously, we need to be able to make good decisions. We need to be able to have things to inform our strategies, our policies. But definitely we need to understand where our areas of excellence are and where the areas for development are. And the data report is a step in that direction to really pull together from our government schools, and certainly some elements from our private schools, some of that data so that those decisions can be taken. In previous years, when we looked at the data report, when we reported particularly on student attainment, we reported for our Key Stage 4, which would be our years 11 and 12 students taking external examinations, we reported by the entire group of students in the year group, so by cohort. So we looked across the board and we said, of this entire group of students, what percentage of them were passing math, English, science, other subjects as well that are in the appendices. And one of the things that we tried to do differently this year, because while that has value, that has a lot of value when we are starting to think of our strategies and our policies, but one of the things that we really wanted to do this year in this year's data report and moving forward is to start to report by sittings. So if we start to look at, of the entire cohort, how many of them actually sat English, math, science, and of those who sat, what percentage passed? That gives us a better indication of our subject performance. It gives a better indication of how the school is performing. And importantly, it allows us to have some context when we start to look at comparisons to regional and international benchmarks. So that's one of the changes that we introduced in the data report this year. This year we're reporting both tracks, the entire cohort, and by sitting. And moving forward, we will consistently report by sitting. We thought that that was important. If we need to have the cohort data, we do have that. But it's one of the things that we really want to be able to hone in on. How are these subjects doing? And what do we need to do within subject areas, and within teaching and learning, within our curriculum to improve the performance? So that's one of the things that we kind of looked at. This year we also included a section on various initiatives that we are taking, particularly in English and mathematics, to improve performance, to improve the support to students from an intervention standpoint, from a resourcing standpoint. So that's actually embedded within the document. Last year we discussed it and we had a separate document for that, but this year we've actually embedded it in the document. So these are some of the things that we're hoping that people will engage with, reach out to us on if you have concerns, if you have questions, if you have suggestions, by all means, because we are more than happy to have the discussions and do whatever we need to do to improve our system.
And that's key in a sense. So Mr. Hunt, from that perspective, as we look at the data, and well, share with us as you want.
Well, okay. I'm going to share the metrics. Mark already indicated that the report encapsulates a wide variety of information, and this year we've extended what we did in previous years by including quite a bit of the interventions that we have in place to improve our system. The report covers enrollment data, both at the compulsory age as well as the early years program. And what we have found is that in both of those programs, the early years and the compulsory education, is that we are finding that the system is increasing in terms of the enrollment figures. So for instance, in the early years program, we have about 2,082 students enroll, and that is about 3% since 2022, about 3% increase, and in particular 10 percentage points increase in the government in what provision the government makes. So there's more robust growth in what the government is now providing in terms of early years education. In compulsory education, we have this is years 1 through to year 11, 12. We have 9,054 students. And of that, you have 48% of those is in primary education, and 51.7% is in secondary education. This is divided into the public and the private schools. We find that at the primary level, we have about 46.7% in private education and about 52.3% in public education. And at the secondary level, we have 57.6% in public education and about 40.9% in the private education and about 1.5% in home schools.
And Mr. Wingrove, if you would permit me to just jump in here as well. What we've seen, Mr. Dwayne, over the years is an increase in the enrollment in government schools.
Yes.
So we recognize that we have additional asks for people to come into our government school system. So we recognize that. We recognize the need for spacing and resourcing and everything else that goes along with it.
And at some point, we want to ask, maybe just from a policy perspective, we know what maybe some of the drivers in relation to that increased enrollment in the government schools. If the data would sort of capture that.
Well, we haven't explored exactly why that has happened, but we can sort of surmise that we have had additions to the population.
So population growth? Okay.
Yes, population growth is a significant component, as well as there is some transition because we've seen a reduction, particularly at the secondary level, in the enrollment at the private schools. So there's been a shift at the secondary level in particular over to the public schools.
Mm-hmm.
And then, of course, you have, well, that might be a bit political, so I might not go down that road.
I guess you could say success breeds success.
Yeah, but this is what I was looking at. Because sometimes we would say, well, cost and capacity, but also if you have the opportunity that in this instance, say in the government schools producing good or better results, and you get them value for money, so do we know what attracts, potentially, and it leads to the increase in enrollment. So thank you, Mr. Nair.
So, and it would be, if you look, when I say success, breed success, in terms of outcomes, but also in terms of offerings.
Yes.
In terms of the availability of different subject choices, different extracurricular offerings, and I guess parents really do look critically at what is being offered and what they feel they need for their children. So
value for money?
We'll just say that this is unofficial research because we haven't really done work on that. But, just to put forward some possible reasons.
Thank you, and thanks for allowing us to ask that, because as a veteran educator, those are the things as parents we're looking for. You want to call it value, Mr.
Yeah, and to the point Ms. Lynette was making, in addition to that, when we look at the resourcing, so, understandably, in some of our private schools, they may not have the capacity to address certain interventions or support structures that students may need for whether they're learning challenges, whether behavioral challenges. Those things may come at a cost. Within government, we are very, very blessed, very fortunate to have within our service specialists who provide educational psychology support, occupational therapy support, music therapy support. So we have that built into our system. And we are able to provide those, whether it is therapeutic support, interventions, to our students. So I think parents are seeing the holistic look at what the education service offers and are making decisions accordingly.
All right, thanks.
But to that extend that point as well, but we do understand that there is a pressure on the infrastructure that we currently have. There's a pressure on the placements, as well as the resourcing that we have available in the public schools. So it's fairly widespread in terms of the impact that the increase in the population is having.
I mean, the numbers you're giving, 9,000 plus, just saying that at that level, whether you got 2,000 plus in the early years, those are significant numbers that get compounded over time. How are we responding? Just the way the data analysis can inform not just this year's, but 10 years hence.
So we have to be careful with the trajectory to measure how we are growing. Sorry, to measure how we are growing so that we can get the appropriate infrastructure in place to match the growth in the population. In terms of attendance, we dealt with the enrollment, and the enrollment covers both private and public school, but the attendance only covers public schools. At the moment, we have an attendance of 90.8%. This is across our system. At the primary level, it's about 93%, and at the secondary level, it's about 88.8%. There was some, we have the before COVID impact. We were running about 93% BC, and now we are
I like that.
First time I've heard it.
Yeah. So before COVID, yeah.
You sure?
Yeah. So there was a reduction into about the 80s, about 88%. We had dropped, but now we are rising again. So we had 91 percentage points, which is reasonably good. So we are growing or improving over time since all the fears, etc., for COVID impacted us.
Were we able, even anecdotally or otherwise, to gauge, again, as Ms. Linda intimated, we can probably just, get a handle, but why that decrease? Is it people's fear for safety? Is it people opting out? Why the decrease in attendance?
Well, it was a variety of things because we tried to track, we reorganized our attendance monitoring system to look at reasons why our attendance was dropping. And a number of things showed up. One of it is that people were just sick, and they had all these respiratory infections, and we were all afraid of, you sneeze and people are running. So that mandatory, people had to stay home once they had those respiratory impacts. Secondly, we looked at COVID fear. There were people who were afraid to come into the environment. So we did a bit of tracking on that, and a variety of reasons why the attendance dropped. Although we had a method of sort of hybrid approach to how we manage attendance in terms of the persons who were engaging with the school when they are at home and so on. The fact that we had laptops in place, etc., we were able to do a hybrid approach to learning, a face-to-face instruction. So we tried to manage the process, but ultimately, if people were sick, they were sick, and if they had a respiratory infection and the government said you had to stay home, then you have to stay home.
Safety first, right?
Yes, correct.
All right. Well, share with us of the report as you wish.
Right. So I guess this is the part that most people would like to hear. In terms of the key stage 2 results, we found that this year, remember we have tests, which is the key stage 2, and we have teacher assessment judgments. So for the test, you had grammar, punctuation, and spelling. 64% of the students that took that test met the standard. 55% met the standard in reading, and 43.5% met the standard in mathematics. For writing, which is the teacher assessed judgments, which is moderated, we had 52.3% achieving the standard. The results this year showed that we did a general improvement across all those indicators that I just mentioned, about 66.5 percentage points since we started. So on average, each year we are growing by about 6.5%, 7 percentage points, and that is significant, given again the fact that we implemented the new curriculum just before COVID hit us. So that has had an impact on how we embed the curriculum in the system. So, it was a bit problematic implementing a new curriculum at that stage. So there was significant impact. But I find now that we are growing as we deliver these assessments.
Mr. Wingrove, can I also, sorry for interrupting again,
yeah, that's fine.
But just to build on your point about the implementation of the new curriculum. So when we were looking at a 2019 implementation of the curriculum, we recognized 2020 and 2021 being what they were for us in Cayman with regard to COVID impact. And then if we are thinking years 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and we look at those years missing, we are actually at about year 5, no? Yep, of implementation. So the cohort that we would have been discussing now, the 23-24 year 6s, they would not have had a full implementation of the curriculum for their primary life. They would have had a disruption, I should say. So I think that's significant to note that when we are talking about the impacts of things like COVID, people will say, well, COVID was 5 years ago. The reality is, for the implementation of our curriculum and access to that full suite that the curriculum brings, we would have had the disruption. So that's contextual with regard to what we're talking about.
Yeah. Okay. And that's a critical point, right? Because there are a lot of factors that are associated with the implementation of a curriculum, and part of it is to get teachers involved in the actual delivery of the curriculum. And if that training, etc., is interrupted, then there's impact. At Key Stage 4, this is year 11. We do year 11 and 12 Key Stage 4. 73.8% of the persons who sat pass English language, as opposed to 70% of the cohort. 47.2% of the persons who sat achieve it in mathematics, as opposed to 41.3% of the cohort. 78.5% who sat science passed, as opposed to 63.6% of the cohort. And we had 40.2% of those who sat, 40.2% of the persons who did 5 or more subjects achieve a level 2 qualification, including English and mathematics, as opposed to 39.4% of the overall cohort. So a very important factor too is that we had about 33% of the cohort who surpassed the national standard at year 11, and by that I mean they would have achieved honors at that point. So that's a significant number. Roughly 1/3 of our students go on to do further education at the end of year 11.
Okay. If I may just ask, so start, we take a scheduled break, and when we come back, and take us through the report and speak to some of the other things that have been of significance. To our listeners, we're talking about the Education Data Report for the academic year 2023-24. I invite you to join us after the break.
Shipping to the Cayman Islands is fast, reliable, and seamless thanks to Cayman Airways Cargo. Need it faster than ocean freight? Cayman Airways Cargo offers multiple cargo flights to Grand Cayman from Miami weekly, so your packages, whether big, small, or in between, will arrive in no time. You can even use a Cayman Airways Cargo US address for your online shopping. Cayman Airways Cargo is also the only carrier providing air freight services for Cayman Brac and Little Cayman. Contact us today and see why Cayman Airways Cargo was voted as Cayman's best cargo and logistics company in the Best of Cayman Awards. For details, visit caymanairways.com/cargo.
Did you know that Doctors Hospital provides urgent care services 24 hours a day, 7 days a week? And Doctors Hospital's urgent care physicians have access to the most advanced MRI and CT imaging in the Caribbean, providing reliable diagnostics when you need it most. When you need quality urgent care for an illness or injury, Doctors Hospital is here for you 24/7. Whether it's a migraine, chest or abdominal pain, shortness of breath, broken bones, or another urgent need, Doctors Hospital at the top of Walker's Road. Urgent care right now.
Stay cyber secure with Cayman National. Here are a few tips that will benefit you. Ensure to log out completely when you finish any online banking activities. Be aware of phishing attempts and only click links from trusted sources that are sent from your device through emails and messages. Remember, Cayman National will never ask you for your credentials. If you suspect a fraud attempt or that your account has been compromised, please immediately contact our customer support team at 949-8300.
Hi, I'm Deputy Governor Franz Manderson, and I'm excited to announce the DG's 5K Challenge is just around the corner. We kick off things in Little Cayman on March 9th, followed by Cayman Brac on March 16th, and the grand finale on Grand Cayman on March 30th. This year, we're supporting the Cayman Islands Girls Brigade, the Cayman Islands Scouts Association, and the 1-to-1 Foundation, each helping to shape our next generation. Join us in making a positive impact. For registration details, find us on Facebook at DG's 5K Challenge.
Accidents and illnesses can strike without warning. Ouch! When it comes to urgent care, every second counts. At Doctors Hospital, we have a dedicated team of experienced doctors and nursing staff available to you 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. Don't waste time in an overcrowded emergency room when you need urgent care. Whether it's a broken bone, a severe infection, or a sudden illness, trust in Doctors Hospital's unwavering dedication to providing the best immediate care. For complete urgent care when you need it the most, choose Doctors Hospital, located in Georgetown, 16 Middle Road.
The 8:12 a.m. Weather Report, Monday through Friday, is proudly sponsored by CG Britke. Insurance, health, pensions, life, where people come first.
Morning has broken like the first morning. Blackbird has spoken like the first bird.
I just feel like something good is about to happen. I just feel like something good on its way. Praise the Lord. He can work through those who praise Him. Praise the Lord.
Put your hand in the hand of the man who still the water. Put your hand in the hand of the man who calmed the sea.
Oh, just because I've got Jesus on my mind. Just because I got Jesus on my mind.
Praise time on Radio Cayman.
Weekday mornings from 6 until 6:30.
Radio Cayman's Talk Today. What is on your mind, Cayman?
Hey, welcome back and thanks for joining us. As we talk about the education data report for the academic year 2023-24, we have the Acting Chief Officer in the Ministry of Education, Ms. Lynette Monteith, the Director of Education Services, Mr. Mark Ray, and the Senior Manager, what is it? Data and Testing Services, Mr. Hunt, the Specialist. So, Mr. Negro, thank you, sir. You were sharing with us some more information from the report.
Okay. I want to touch on the students who actually leave our system, what their performance is like when at the end of Key Stage 4, which is when they leave our system at the end of year 12. Right. So we have 82.3% of our students, of all the students leaving year 12 in the public system, achieve a qualification in English. We have about 69% of all our students who leave at the end of year 12 achieving some kind of qualification, level 2 qualification in science. We have about 60% of our students who leave our system have a qualification in mathematics at the end of year 12. And we have about 56.7% of our students meeting the expected standard. At the end, the expected standard is math and English, 5 subjects at level 2, including English and mathematics, at the end of their year 12.
And would this, Mr. Hart, include students who are at SciFec as well to get that extra opportunity?
These are students who have gone through the SciFec program, or the students who have gone on to do a UCCI or A-level institution. So it's all of the entire cohort in the public system. That is a percentage of students who leave with 5 or more qualifications, including English and mathematics. And that is a tremendous, significant achievement for us.
I don't know if it helps to contextualize our Year 12 program a little bit. So at Year 12, we have an offering in Cayman Brac at Lehman Scott High School. They have a Year 12 operating there. And here in Grand Cayman, we have SciFec. And our SciFec students, our Year 12 students here in Grand Cayman and on the Brac, can qualify for dual enrollment. They can be dually enrolled with our government system, but also there's a track for A-levels with the private schools. There's a track where they can be dually enrolled at UCCI for the first year of their associate's degree. And that track actually has been split to add an additional pathway where we have the core traditional subjects where they can look at for their associate's degree, but also we have a TVET track where at UCCI they can go to UCCI and they can actually leave there triply certified. So they can come out with a high school diploma, they can leave with a UCCI diploma, and they can leave with a TVET certification that qualifies them for further study or entry into the workforce. So that Year 12 program is multifaceted in terms of the pathways, and that reporting for Year 12 is on that entire cohort.
Yes. And a significant number that I want to mention is this idea that of all the students who leave our system, 74% of those students, and that is nothing to sneeze at, 74% of our students leave Year 12 with at least 5 higher level subjects. That is 5 or more subjects. The limiting factor why the expected standard is not as high. The expected standard, meaning 5 or more level 2 qualifications, including English and math, is because the math is not as high as the English. So the English is high, 80%, but the math is more like 60%. So that discrepancy there is what causes us not to be as high performing as we would like. So our system really is limited by our ability to drive performance in mathematics. But it is important to note that students leave our system fairly qualified, which is this is like 3/4 of the students leave with that qualification. So that's a significant feature.
With respect to sort of the trends that may transpire, from one report to the next, are there any things that challenges, I guess, in some parts that persist that we see, year after year cropping up?
So I think one in particular would be our attainment in mathematics. I'm using the word attainment, not progress.
Progress.
Because we'd see a different trend if we looked at progress. But that has been a subject that continues to not be at the attainment level that we would want it. But I would just want to add that this is a global trend. Regionally and internationally as well. When you look at the core subjects of mathematics, English and science, math is the subject that would lag behind a little bit. However, in terms of looking at the statistics, even though it's not where we want it to be, just some figures for you in terms of comparison with our regional counterparts and England. Our public schools are at 46.6%. Regionally, it's at 36.3%. And in England, the results are at 59.6%. So you can see that.
And this is specifically for mathematics.
For mathematics, I'm speaking about.
Yeah.
So, so you can see that we're doing better than our regional counterparts. And not, if you look at the figures, and Mr. Hunt will tell you statistically, not doing that badly in terms of comparison with England, but that is a subject that makes a difference in terms of our students who attain the expected standard of 5 or more, including English and math.
Right.
It does make a difference. But when Director Ray speaks, he will speak to what we've done in terms of improvements, and obviously with everything, improvements, as it were, Rome wasn't built in a day. So you have, if you're having improvement year by year, you assess and you change if you need to change your interventions or your strategies to bring about a greater change. So we continue to work on the math. So that is probably something that will stand out more than in other areas.
Yeah, I think that's in our own personal lives or in our homes, but I wonder, Mr. Rees, really, if they're, again, having the data, having analyzed is great, but sometimes asking, not unlike the financial statements, the company made a profit, it made a loss, but why? What can do? In this, and specifically for math, anything either anecdotally or from the report that sort of potentially could indicate why that attainment is not where we want it to be relative to the standard.
Yeah, and before I go into that, I just wanted to add a little bit more on the comparative results that Ms. Lynette alluded to for mathematics. I wanted to just add some more on English and for integrated science as well. So our public schools in English, we're at 76.7% in terms of our year 11 results. Regionally, it's 76.3%, and England is at 61.6%. Integrated science, 78% for our public schools, regionally 58.1%, and England at 57.1%. So when we start to look across the board, we do recognize that there are some areas of strength within our government system and definitely areas for development. And I can speak to some of those reasons as you asked about now for mathematics. Mathematics, I think, not just in recent times, but years gone back, I've had conversations with a number of people my age and younger, meaning older,
Thank you.
who would have expressed apprehension around mathematics for a long time. And I had a really good conversation with someone recently who talked about a teacher who helped them to overcome the fear of mathematics that they had from a primary school experience when a teacher said to them, this subject is really hard, you are not going to get this answer right. And that put in her mind all the way through.
Yep.
And this is someone who went to school back in the 70s. What I would say now is that you will, on occasion, have those types of experiences across the board, because this isn't a Cayman public school issue. This isn't even a Cayman issue. This is a regional and a global issue with regard to mathematical attainment. So we do recognize that there is that fear of the subject. We do recognize that there is an element of logical thinking and processing when it comes to mathematics that everyone may not be have as much affinity to. But one of the things that we recognize is good teaching is going to trump most of the challenges that you face in any subject area. So one of our areas of focus in terms of initiatives is professional development for our teachers in terms of mastery of teaching mathematics. And that builds a deeper understanding for our students as opposed to just the surface level. We also have the resourcing in terms of the various materials that will align with that mastery. And we want to focus also on the mathematics facts and fluency so that students are able to do that mental mathematics when it comes to quick recall and calculations. That helps to build competency as well. And then we have our math specialist teacher program. As we continue to build out that program, those math specialist teachers are not only teachers who love mathematics and want to teach it, but are also able to ensure that our teachers are seeing best practices, and not just from a mathematics standpoint, but from a teaching and learning standpoint as well. So from a mathematics perspective, we have a number of initiatives that we're really trying to push to improve the attainment there. And I can speak very quickly to the literacy as well. We look at early oral language development, the phonemic awareness and phonological skills for our little ones to ensure reading success. That's critically important, and that transcends across all subject areas because reading is going to be critical. We have resources like interventions for Read, Write, Inc. and so on for students who are below the expected standard. Our data gives us a lot of information with regard to who needs the interventions and whether it should be targeted to an individual student, a group of students, the entire class, or whether we're looking at something within our curriculum that we might need to adjust. Because if it's across the entire system, then it may be something that we need to kind of take a step back. So those are some of the things that we're doing in those two key areas to try to drive improvement.
And I think this is, once that's done, Mr. Hunt, we can see the testing results over time be indicative of the strategies we implement now.
Yes, of course. The thing is that what we try to do is to diagnose where the issues are, and then what we do is then we use our interventions to support those what the diagnosis says. So once you have those factors in place and we treat every child as an individual and try to address their individual needs, and I must say that is one of the important benefits of this new curriculum, in that it's an evidence-based type of curriculum. So we're able then to assess where kids are at, what they're able to do, what they're not able to do, and then build on that. So we can develop persons at whatever stage they're at.
Just a little point about the assessment for our Key Stage 2 students. They do the same assessment that the students in England take as well. So, you know, when we spoke about comparison, really is apples to apples,
I think critically, Mr. Wingrove was speaking about the curriculum being evidence-based and so on. And, you know, the curriculum is one thing, and I alluded to teaching and learning and quality teaching earlier. One of the big drivers for us is how do we kind of ensure that we're getting quality teaching in our classrooms. And the teaching and learning team has been doing a lot of work with our principals and the subject leads and developing not just the mechanisms by which they can see exemplars of best practice, but tools that they can use to have some quantitative data around what we're observing. So lesson observations are standard within any school setting. And one of the things we're trying to do is to give or principals or specialists or subject leads more tools to have those conversations with teachers when an observation is had and there is something that is really, really good that we need to share with other people. We have evidence on that. But in addition, when there are areas for development, and I don't like to necessarily say weaknesses, maybe there are weaknesses, but I see it as an area for development. And when those are there, that is also supported by data. Because, anecdotal, you can observe certainly, but when you have the data, you're in a better position to have those conversations from a very factual standpoint. And I think the continual development and use of those tools on a consistent basis, we'll continue to see the improvement and the drive for quality within our classrooms.
If I might ask, picking up what you shared, Mr. Ray, relative to professional development and our need for continued education, we see that in all the professions. Given that many jurisdictions are increasingly considering, as they do in universities, teacher assessments and the like, as we assess our students for attainment, any thought to employing those strategies for our teachers as well?
Well, I mean, teachers being civil servants, of course, they have a performance management structure like everyone else, right? But importantly, the good thing about that is that it is able to be tailored to what we see. So when we start to look at the data and we identify areas, like I said, for development, we recognize that those objectives can be written into the performance agreement. But crucially, the thing that will really drive that is, as I said, the observations. They're getting strong feedback on this is what is going well. Your objective setting is really good, but your pacing may be a little bit off, or whatever the case may be, and we have that documented.
Okay.
So that drives a lot of those conversations.
And thanks for that, because sometimes we don't understand that. We do have a caller. Let's go to the phones. We have the acting chief officer. We also have the director and then the manager for data and testing over at DES. Hey, welcome. Thanks for sharing.
Good afternoon to you and to your great panel there.
Welcome, sir. How are you?
I congratulate them, Mr. Thank you. Success with the schools and so forth. Often we hear how far backward we are and all this nonsense. We don't. And now we know the truth. Now we are very, very comparable and highly comparable in what we're doing. And mathematics and sciences and other subjects there, as we see, as we were. I just caught a little bit of it. But with the thing with mathematics, quite so, as the gentleman was saying, people were afraid. I remember, I left school 61 years ago, but I remember I just started GC in the Caribbean at that time. Before that was Old Senior, Cambridge, and so forth. The same thing, really. The same universities were marking it. Exams and Centrum and all that. But anyhow, I remember you had two syllabuses more or less for the mathematics. One would concentrate at that stage levels on algebra, and the other one concentrated more on trigonometry and straight, the arithmetic type and so forth. And then some of us went on and did pure applied and advanced math. And also, we didn't see the relevance of it then until, you started in sixth form learning, and you'd realize some started to do Boolean mathematics, George Boole's thing with it, and that's very relevant now with the computer world and so forth, the sets and combinations. But we realized after you left school that you could get jobs in something that you never thought about, like with the racetrack, as the person who sets up the betting odds and all that. It takes a mathematician. The combinations, permutations, just things like that. And of course, with the electronics and electrical, with calculating your power factors and your hysteresis and different things and imaginary and complex numbers, and you realize the relevance of it, especially with engineering. But you can't even build a shoebox without mathematics, and it's done with a mathematician in the factories that made boxes and all that, because I knew of them was hard. So it shows you that it's very relevant in almost in every field. You're gonna need a mathematician to do things, and in the insurance industry, you have mathematicians,
Yes, sir.
actuaries, and so forth. So, if I try to show when you're getting into your senior years, the relevance of it in day-to-day life that people would never think of. You mightn't think of that you have mathematicians working in those situations. And we weren't told that then, but we learned it after we started working at any kind of a job, that it was very relevant.
Indeed.
So just thought I'd mention that.
Thanks very
Keep up the
much.
Good work.
Thanks very much.
So
And
keep up the good work. Have a good day.
Thank you for sharing it. I think the caller, Mr. Ray, highlights what I was sharing in that you mentioned observations in the class, but they attempt to ask them about the assessments. Teaching, you can learn, you can know it, and then how to improve the delivery so that the student who may have that preconceived notion, sometimes inadvertently, a comment from a parent or teacher, because they struggle or their perception of a subject. So I appreciate it.
Yeah, and to jump on what he's saying, authentication of learning is critically important. So I think it's important that even before the senior years, from our youngest, we need to make sure that they have authentic examples of what they're doing in the classroom, how it applies to real life.
Right.
And when that happens, then you get a sense of, well, this isn't useless. This is what I will use this to do later on.
And as most things within that, we only see it after some time of experience, right?
Yeah, sure.
We're going to be mindful of your guys' time, and certainly have the public invitation when you report is in the public domain to come back on if you wish. Any closing thoughts you want to leave with our audience relative to the report?
And I hope that our discourse here has highlighted but also clarified for some persons, and certainly, as Director Ray said before, if there are any questions, we're available to answer questions. And certainly when the data report is published, maybe we will do another visit so that we can further clarify. But it is very important for us to put it in a nutshell. And I really thank the caller who called in, because as he said, he just related it to various life experiences, puts it in a nutshell. It's not math, but it's what you can use the math for, and the fact that it's everywhere. It's not just contained in a particular area. Yes, so do thank you for having us.
Thank you for taking the time. Math is a language, and it's a beautiful one. But thanks for coming on. Looking forward to future discussions.
Thank you.
All right.
Thank you very much.
Stay tuned for our news and join us after.
Stay cyber secure with Cayman National. Here are a few tips that will benefit you. Ensure to log out completely when you finish any online banking activities. Be aware of phishing attempts and only click links from trusted sources that are sent from your device through emails and messages. Remember, Cayman National will never ask you for your credentials. If you suspect a fraud attempt or that your account has been compromised, please immediately contact our customer support team at 949-8300.
Shipping to the Cayman Islands is fast, reliable, and seamless thanks to Cayman Airways Cargo. Need it faster than ocean freight? Cayman Airways Cargo offers multiple cargo flights to Grand Cayman from Miami weekly, so your packages, whether big, small, or in between, will arrive in no time. You can even use a Cayman Airways Cargo US address for your online shopping. Cayman Airways Cargo is also the only carrier providing air freight services for Cayman Brac and Little Cayman. Contact us today and see why Cayman Airways Cargo was voted as Cayman's best cargo and logistics company in the Best of Cayman Awards. For details, visit CaymanAirways.com/cargo.
Looking for fresh, healthy food that's full of flavor? Then you've got to visit Kirk Market. Our dishes are made with fresh, high-quality ingredients. Enjoy vibrant mixed greens or satisfying pasta salads. Or try one of our delicious grill options like blackened chicken, spicy beef steak, or grilled salmon. Looking for something light and flavorful? We've got sushi rolls and poke bowls prepared daily. And don't forget to explore a hot bar or Billy Fresh salad at the salad bar. Stop by Kirk Market today for breakfast, lunch, or dinner and taste the difference. Eat well, live well with Kirk Market.
The offices of dermatologist Dr. Wayne Porter will be taking appointments February 22nd to the 28th at his Crew Road Clinic. Appointment slots are limited whether you're seeking advanced skin care, Botox, filler, cosmetic skin enhancements, or simply looking to reduce wrinkles. Dr. Wayne Porter offers a full-service dermatology and dermatological surgery practice. For more information, email drporterkman@gmail.com. That's drporterkman@gmail.com. Call 946-9020 to book your appointment today. That's 946-9020.
Experience the soulful fusion of reggae and jazz with Benil Miller and his reggae orchestra at the 2025 Cayman Arts Festival. The multi-talented singer, songwriter and instrumentalist known for his unique blend of roots reggae, modern Caribbean and jazz. Saturday, February 15th at 7 p.m. at the Harkfield Theatre. Tickets are just $40 for adults and $15 for students. Call 922-5550 or email inquiries at caymanartsfestival.com for more details.
Since 1976.
Covering Grand Cayman, no Cayman, Cayman right. One small step for man, one giant leap for mankind.
Radio Cayman in the Cayman Islands. From Radio Cayman's newsroom, this is Headlines.
The Headline News is brought to you by Kirk Market.
With a look at your latest headlines, I'm Jeffy Ebanks. Deputy Director Robert Tatum of the Central Procurement Office has been recognized by the Ministry of Finance and Economic Development for the Chief Officer's Choice for August 2024. The accolade highlights his exceptional contribution to the National Emergency Operations Center, particularly his coordination efforts during Hurricane Beryl. Nominated by Director of Hazard Management, Cayman Islands, Danny Coleman, Tatum was praised for his integrity, patience, and attention to detail. Financial Secretary Kenneth Jefferson and CPO Director Tariq Bashir also supported the nomination, applauding Tatum's dedication to public service. Tatum expressed his gratitude for the recognition, reaffirming his commitment to his duties. In regional news, in Jamaica, the People's National Party has criticized the government for its silence during Saturday's tsunami alert. A magnitude 7.6 earthquake in the Caribbean Sea triggered alerts in over a dozen countries, including Jamaica. Opposition spokesperson Natalie Garvey condemned the Office of Disaster Preparedness and Emergency Management and the Ministry of Local Government for their slow response, calling it a gross dereliction of duty. She urged an urgent review of the country's disaster alert systems. The Trinidad and Tobago government has announced that the country has been removed from the Organization for Economic Cooperation and Development Forum on Harmful Tax Practices list as of February 2025. Finance Minister Colm Imbert stated that Trinidad and Tobago now joins Anguilla, Barbados, Bermuda, BVI, the Cayman Islands, and Turks and Caicos in having non-harmful tax policies. The change comes after years of legislative efforts to replace the free trade zones with special economic zones and to ensure compliance with international standards. That's your latest headlines. I'm Jeffy Ebanks.
www.radiocayman.gov.ky. Check out our social media pages: Facebook, YouTube, X, formerly Twitter, Radio Cayman Headline News.
Looking for fresh, healthy food that's full of flavor? Then you've got to visit Kirk Market. Our dishes are made with fresh, high-quality ingredients. Enjoy vibrant mixed greens or satisfying pasta salads. Or try one of our delicious grill options like blackened chicken, spicy beef steak, or grilled salmon. Looking for something light and flavorful? We've got sushi rolls and poke bowls prepared daily. And don't forget to explore a hot bar or Billy Fresh salad at the salad bar. Stop by Kirk Market today for breakfast, lunch, or dinner and taste the difference. Eat well, live well with Kirk Market.
Radio Cayman Talk Today continues.
Hey, welcome back. Thank you for joining us. Going to be some open line for the remaining 25 minutes or thereabouts of our show as we invite you to be a part of a discussion. 949-837 or 949-6990. You can WhatsApp call 925-32621. Very special thanks again to Ms. Lynette Monteith, Mr. Mark Ray, and Mr. Wingrove Hunt for joining us then, as Mrs. Lynette shared the academic year 2023 to 24, the education data report will be in the public domain imminently. So get a copy, have a look. And thanks to the caller prior to help us highlight that despite some of the things we've shared, the education system is still performing not just relative to the region but to the England as well. But as was highlighted, there may be the perception that we have because of what may have said, as Mr. Ray indicated, some of us heard things about math that in our minds, whether consciously or otherwise, led us to have a particular anxiety towards math. But as the caller indicated, there's very little, if anything, you can do without the maths. So continue to persevere and persist, and as you sort of move through the space, you'll find that there won't only just be progress personally but professionally, and the importance that some of us may find reading and writing to be more appealing than the math, but still necessary. So what's on your mind? What do you want to chat about? It's a Monday. Calendar says, of the month of February with 28 days, we're indeed 10. Wow. Not counting down to anything. Not even the weekend. Hope it was good for you. But recognizing how we approach people. Sometimes that unexpected phone call or message in the late evening can set your tone. So let it be positive. Let it be encouraging, and perhaps you'll be receptive to the effort as I was. So thank you. Hey, 949-837, 949-6990. Well, what's your purpose? Ms. Derry earlier sort of alluded to that. Is it the ikigai? Is that how you say it? In the Japanese, have a way of reminding us of the importance and the consciousness of doing certain things, and having a purpose is important. Ms. Reagan talked earlier. She set, for her vision board, her dream sheet, her, personal ambitions, and she's realizing them. Let's take this call. Hey, welcome. Thanks for sharing.
Yes, good afternoon.
Afternoon. How are you today?
I'm doing great. And yourself?
Ah, man. Awesome. Absolutely thankful.
So, we had a tsunami alert sometime over the weekend.
Mm-hmm.
And that was as a result of the earthquake.
Mm-hmm.
And for some reason, I'm wondering if we, I haven't heard anything. I'm not saying that there isn't, but I haven't heard anything. If we have ironed out all the kinks that we identify in the previous earthquake, when there was, I believe, chaos in town, especially, where the traffic was locked down completely, nothing was moving. And I'm just wondering if there is a plan afoot to ensure that if the unfortunate situation were to occur,
mm-hmm.
that people had to move to wherever, higher grounds, other location away from the sea in mass. How would it be attempted to achieve such a mass movement of people in vehicles,
mm-hmm.
With the experience that we had when town was totally locked up?
Mm-hmm. What, if I may ask, and I'll come back to engage but if I may ask, would be some of your proposed solutions to alleviate that? How would you address that?
Well, if you were to ever take a cruise, you would hear about Mustard Station. I think it might be a good idea to have some designated area as mustard station where people can go to if a tsunami was to take place. I think that might be something to consider. But we're running from something that we need to address, and that's the amount of vehicles on the road. It would be impossible if we're getting a tsunami and people start moving, not to avoid the roads closing for the fact that everybody is going every direction.
Mm-hmm.
So that the road, the amount of vehicle on the road has to be addressed. I mean, we're not seeing it as a safety issue right now, but I believe if one of those situations were to play out, it will definitely be a safety factor.
Right. But if I may ask, and this is just general speaking, and if you incline, and also maybe ask further, again, back to your substantive question, but with a tsunami, and by all means, please, not just you, but others, understand one, not an expert, not slightly even interested in being perceived as saying anything that would. Just general questions, again, spurred by what you shared, but what we experienced over the weekend that led to so many people, even to today, still literally, not figuratively, literally shaking. They're still afraid, right? And so I have tons of questions. Now we know Miss Danny on the show with Mr. Art this morning said that it was recorded at this level, and here closer it was at 5.1, right? But a tsunami, I'm told, will travel up to 500 miles an hour. If this thing occurs, by the time we can really get our bearings, wouldn't it already have come upon us?
That's a high possibility. But the thing is that we wouldn't even had the time to attempt anything because we don't.
But this is it, right? So
the question is what is the national plan? Is thinking is there some place that you go if a tsunami is on the way towards us? I mean, we may have a couple minutes to react. The question is, one, the roads will be locked down, and two, where do we go?
Yeah, I mean, there's something. Was it said? There's a correlation between the length of the wave and the height, right? But if it's going 500 miles an hour, and a hurricane, we may get a few hours or even in some cases weeks, days to prepare, right? With this, there's very little preparation time, response time.
Yeah, but it's all right to have the time to respond. The question is, what are you going to do in that response time? What is the plan?
Right. So what would you do? Let's say, and there's the other part of this question, is there some sort of warning system? Is it effective? How does it reach, right? I've also got a question of to how much it's alarmist, right? But let's just say there's a warning system. There's a guy on the beach shouting, or there's a bell, or there's something electronically. But this thing is coming in, and you got moments to do whatever you got to do. What would you say that we should be doing once that warning is given?
Besides praying, boy, it's going to be every man for himself, him or herself.
Right. So,
as I said, we haven't identified. Well, I shouldn't say we haven't identified. I haven't heard of designated area being identified to say, okay, this is one of those like how we do for hurricane shelters. They ain't. I'm not aware of such a plan in place. So what do? Look to save yourself.
Okay, so back to what you referenced, and again, thanks to the engagement, because I think this is the discussion that many are having. Right, we do have two other callers. I don't want to belabor you, and I don't want to disrespect them, but let's say in the 2020 January 28th impact, a lot, if not all of us, felt it, right? And that probably in itself caused us to respond in fear, in whatever. This one, some say they did, some say they didn't, some saw their pool or other bodies of water being impacted by it. So the response may not have been as it was previously, where everybody, hightailed it out of there, as it were. So what do we do then? I mean, you feel it. Everybody for himself, and they're running to the streets, into the hills.
Well, there are some tall buildings on the island, and I think our construction is very good to withstand, I believe, the water pressure.
Mm-hmm.
And the question is, how do we access those buildings in such a time? Is there any plan afoot to utilize those?
But if you got minutes or moments, right, and you're at work, let's say it's in the, midday, or it's 9 a.m., you're just getting in, or it's midnight. I mean, will people get to those spaces? Does it make sense to even try? Just a question.
Well, you can't stand up with your hands on your head and the water come and go with you whichever direction. Yeah, you have to try something.
Human nature, right? Yeah.
And the trying, whatever we try,
Mm-hmm.
it must be given the chance to work. And this is why I'm saying that some consideration must be made for the, let's say, some designated areas. Whether you get to it or not, it is there.
Mm-hmm.
And have to look at how we best utilize our road infrastructure
Mm-hmm.
to us and get.
Yeah, I mean, and that's why I asked you, like, if you were one asked to sort of put forward possible solutions. I mean, I agree with you. Other than prayer, you said, but what is there? What other options are there? The road's going to be congested, right?
The road will be congested. I'm not sure that there's another way other than the reduction of the vehicles on the road. And who's going to say to anybody that this is an emergency vehicle and you only allow emergency vehicle in such a time? When I have a vehicle in my yard and my family and I are trying to seek higher grounds and we're going to wait an emergency vehicle. So there's a number of things to be looked at and to be ironed out, and at least a plan. You're not saying that everything is going to go smooth with the plan, but we need, I believe, to have a plan, especially such a large percentage of us, of our residents live on the coast.
Right. I agree we should have a plan, but again, what does that plan look like?
Well, I would like to hear your input on what the plan would look like. Those are my 2 cents.
Yeah, man.
As far as having a designated area for people to go that is somewhat safe, and the reduction of the vehicles on the road. Not at that time, we're talking about doing it prior to, we're talking about addressing that issue.
Right.
Not.
Yeah. If I'm hearing you, I think, what you're sharing is basically we need to look now at possible future events, and not just natural disasters, but what can infrastructure sort of handle? Thanks, man. I'll wait at some point, but thank you for sharing. All right.
No problem. Thanks.
All right. I see an engaged, interactive mind willing to share. The callers online, please hang on. We'll join you right after the break.
Did you know ordering your favorite sandwich from Subway just got easier? Yeah, picture this. No more waiting in line. No more fussing with cash. Just the delicious taste of Subway at your fingertips. With our new app, ordering your go-to sub is as easy as a few taps on your phone. Plus, receive exclusive deals and earn loyalty points with every purchase made on the app. Download the new Subway app today and get ready to ditch the lines and drive straight into your flavor. Visit the App Store or Google Play Store on your mobile phone and search for Subway Cayman Islands. Subway. Eat fresh.
Shipping to the Cayman Islands is fast, reliable, and seamless thanks to Cayman Airways Cargo. Need it faster than ocean freight? Cayman Airways Cargo offers multiple cargo flights to Grand Cayman from Miami weekly, so your packages, whether big, small, or in between, will arrive in no time. You can even use a Cayman Airways Cargo US address for your online shopping. Cayman Airways Cargo is also the only carrier providing air freight services for Cayman Brac and Little Cayman. Contact us today and see why Cayman Airways Cargo was voted as Cayman's best cargo and logistics company in the Best of Cayman Awards. For details, visit CaymanAirways.com/cargo.
Did you know that Doctors Hospital provides urgent care services 24 hours a day, 7 days a week? And Doctors Hospital's urgent care physicians have access to the most advanced MRI and CT imaging in the Caribbean, providing reliable diagnostics when you need it most. When you need quality urgent care for an illness or injury, Doctors Hospital is here for you 24/7. Whether it's a migraine, chest or abdominal pain, shortness of breath, broken bones, or another urgent need, Doctors Hospital at the top of Walker's Road. Urgent care right now.
Freedom, Cayman Brack. Freedom, Little Cayman. Soft breezes, blue waters, no traffic. Unwind and rejuvenate your mind, body, and soul. Sister Island Staycations, a taste of freedom. Discover all that our sister islands have to offer.
Radio Cayman's Talk Today. What is on your mind, Cayman?
Hey, welcome back and thanks for joining us. Number calls on, we want to take them all. Hey, welcome, thanks for sharing.
Hello.
Hey, how are you?
Oh, I'm grateful. I have the flu, so I sound nasal, that's why.
All right, well, I hope you pray that you will be better. Any day now.
I will be. Anyway, I just want to respond or pick up on something your previous caller was saying, but that's not why I called. You said, call, tell me what's on your mind. I will get to what's on my mind after I say this. I'll try to make this very quick.
Thanks.
First of all, we have no higher ground to run to in Grand Cayman. Okay? Let's bear that in mind. Secondly, I have to say this, and I make no apologies. They say we have a hazard management, whether they're called a committee or whatever. And we had 3 earthquakes over the weekend. We don't have a local television station, and they come on the radio Monday morning after the fact. Anything could have happened over the weekend. I don't see where that serves a purpose to any of us, because they should always be proactive and stop reacting. Most of us already have the knowledge of when there's an earthquake and, God forbid, anything else, what we should do. But if you're going to have people calling themselves hazard management, they should be proactive and be at the radio station immediately sounding all of the alarms. They have an app which doesn't work for everyone. With the first earthquake, the alarm came out 42 minutes afterwards. I think about the elderly in times like this. Lots of them don't have a smartphone, so the app wouldn't work for them anyway. We need to have those sirens installed. Cayman is not very big, so it wouldn't take a lot. Install them so that when alarms need to be made, you sound the sirens. A lot of people have just one-story homes. Some of them have attics. Maybe they could climb up in their attic and maybe save themselves. I don't know. I haven't been through a tsunami, thank God. I hope I'll never have to go through one. But as far as talking about going to higher ground, that's sort of the question. Like I said, we don't have that here. And when I'm off this island, whenever there's anything, the Amber Alert, a tornado warning, whatever, and it doesn't matter what hour of the morning or the night it is, my phone is blowing up. Blowing up. And I already know something is happening. I just have to look at my phone and know what it is. That is what, if they can do it on the phone, then that's what they need to do. We have 2 phone providers or 3 here. It should be done through them, that whatever phone, whatever provider you're using, you're going to get that alert, you know? I'm sorry. Anyway, I didn't want to talk about that, so I can leave that right there.
Okay.
But that's my 2 cents worth on that. What I really called to ask, I don't know if you have the answer for me, but if someone is listening, even if they don't want to call in, if they would write the answer into you. my question is, now that the motion for the referendum has passed, right? We're going to have a separate ballot come elections day. So my question is it possible to have a simultaneous people's referendum while the one from the government is also there? I don't know the answer. That's why I'm asking.
Mm-hmm.
So, like I said, if you don't know the answer, I don't know if it's possible legally or legally more so. If someone is listening that knows the answer, if they could just answer it and let me know, I'll continue listening.
Okay. I'm not going to speak as if it's definitive or not exhaustive, right? But our understanding is that in relation to that, in order for trigger a people's initiative referendum, a certain number of percentage votes have to be got.
Right.
Once that is done, then the House has to sort of approve it. So there is a process. So logistically, the timing may not necessarily be feasible, given what we're 2 months out or so.
Mm-hmm.
So, but
let me just say,
Mhm.
I have asked that question, bearing in mind all of these things that have to be done. And, of course, for a people's referendum, I know that time would be against that.
Mm-hmm.
So it leads me to sort of a part two question, because I know that the signatures had been collected for when they were trying to bring it the first time.
Mm-hmm.
So let me add a second question. Would that, in other words, is there a statute of limitation on that objection? Could they use those same signatures, or would they have to start from scratch?
Good question.
I don't know. Like I said, I'm just asking,
Right.
So if someone is listening and they have the answer, I'd appreciate if they would, give us that answer.
Thank you. All right.
Okay?
Feel better. All right.
Thank you.
All right. Talk to you soon. And let's take the other calls. Hey, thanks for holding on. Welcome.
Hey, good afternoon to you, Sterling.
And to you. How's your day going?
Not bad, man. Thank God. How you doing?
Really good, Really good. You never know what your day will take and what the voice of another will, inspire you to. So it's a good day, man.
Very true. Very true, my bro. I called him because, like all of us, or most of us, or a lot of us, concerned about obviously the happenings on the weekend and sort of a national response. And listening to engagement there, I'm going to try to say what I'm going to say without being expressing the aggravated voice.
Okay.
And I restrained myself this morning from calling because the professionals or civil service was on. But they were speaking about things that we already know in terms of the fact that the event did happen, the details surrounding the event. And I suppose Ms. Coleman, so no judgment there, was also drilling down about where the messages and that sort of thing comes from. Now, I knew that because of 2020, the event in 2020.
Mm-hmm.
And I am so, like I said, I'm going to try not to be aggravated. I'm so frustrated, I think, in that our response is pretty much the same as it was in 2020. I recall after 2020 a huge debate, weeks after, where we were deciding on what sort of a system we would put in place. And I don't know where that died or how that died, and if the elections in 2021 killed that. There was no money. I don't know what it is. But the decision was made to go with this phone interruption system, which never happened. When it finally came out, they talked about us having to download an app. And I, like the lady just before me, was one of those who was purporting that we should have an emergency alarm system. It makes complete sense. One, because of the questions you certainly was asking that gentleman. The time is limited.
Mm-hmm.
And the plan, in my mind, is not very complicated. They can quickly determine where the earthquake took place. So, for the most part, based on where we are, as I understand it, and certainly all of them that has happened so far since earthquakes started happening, because I don't remember earthquakes when I was a child. Since earthquakes started happening has all been to our south and west coast. Some a little bit closer to Jamaica, some a little bit closer. And so in that instance, I would think that if there was an event, that is a tsunami event afterwards, it would be more towards our eastern districts if there was a wave that was coming. If it's more southern towards Georgetown, you'd kind of have an idea of if there was something in terms of that notice that they're giving about moving off the coastline. Now, I know that's sort of the standard language, but that makes absolutely no sense. And we know that because all of us, as far as I'm concerned, whether you're 5 miles in or not, are on the coastline, from a tsunami event perspective, certainly the ones that we see on TV, it's not something that just washes up on the shore and just washes back down if it's a huge event. Now, can you just have little waves that come and that sort of thing? Yes, that happens. I think that took place in 2020. But continuing, if it's further to the west coast, then we would know, okay, there's potentially West Bay may get hit more or whatever. They're able to quickly determine that. But the way I see it is that we need to have an immediate alarm system, which is a siren, that tells everybody in the country, hey, there's an event. Never mind the locals. We may have 20,000, 30,000 visitors who are here overnight. And there's a huge confusion that takes place surrounding our visitors, I must tell you. Some are eating at restaurants on the seaside, some all this kind of thing. And what we need, as your two previous callers have said, was a plan that says, this is not like a hurricane where you just get to sit on an alert for 2 days or a warning for 2 days. If an alert is given, you need to immediately, certainly, hopefully, have your personal plans in place. I can talk about mine. In 2020, I rushed and took my 76-year-old mother to the upstairs place that was closest to us, called my daughter and told her must go upstairs, Commander Bay in the parking lot, because that's where she was. You need to have a personal place, but from a national perspective, I can't understand why we haven't been told, and as like we do for hurricanes, if an alert is given, that's not the time for you to go, well, is it real? Is it not real? Da-da-da. You need to say, okay, I need to find the nearest, highest place I can go to, whether that's the neighbor's house next door. You go and see them prior to that, and you make arrangements here. If we have a tsunami threat, can I come over? Mind you, if you don't do that, you may not have any other choice but to run there. The reality of it is that I don't understand why that sort of plan has not been put in place. It's not complicated. Drop whatever you're doing. If you hear an alert, you could be in the midst of cooking a turtle stew. You need to turn your stove off. You need to go where you need to go. If you're in the midst of dining, you need to stop what you're doing. It's not a time for you to go, is it real or is it not real? You must go down to the coastline and go and look. That's not, in my mind, what should be taking place, especially since we know, as you so rightfully said, and my research shows that they can go up to 500 miles an hour, up to. So it could be traveling at 100 miles an hour, 200 miles an hour. You know, Miss Danny Coleman this morning certainly make reference to that. She said that they, through the numbers that were received, the scientists from overseas, and I'm going to speak to that as well, which is why it's so critical for us to have an emergency system. She talked about the fact that all this information is coming out from the NOAA station in Hawaii, and the initial alert comes via email. And, of course, I don't know if we can do anything to change where that alert comes from. Perhaps not. That's not what I'm getting at. What we're getting at is that we already see that our time is limited, but they were able to calculate based on when it happened, approximately how fast it may be going, when the event would have taken place there. We learned that time frame was something like 43 minutes or something like that, something close to 30 minutes anyway. And we'd already eaten up like about 10 or 15 minutes, as I recall, or 10 or 12 minutes between the actual event, them getting it up on our website. First of all, somebody receiving the email, getting it up on the website. And then I just happened to hear about it because I tried downloading the app, so I was one of them that has had problems with that app. So I only learned about it because of a colleague getting it. So, you know, this system about choosing, the reality is that where earthquakes happen, we're impacted, and I was really upset this morning listening to them going over the same issues that we talked about in 2020 when we had the 9-point-something that hit Cayman. I just cannot believe that we're still sitting on it.
It wasn't a high, 9 point something?
Was it 9.1 or 8-point-something? It was very high. It was crazy number, whatever it was.
Okay. Yeah.
I can't believe that we were dealing with the same silliness, same questions in my mind, and that we don't have a plan. You know, it should be an alert. An alert is given. Everybody means you stop what you're doing and you go to your plan. Get to a higher ground, whether that's, like I said, a neighbor's house. If you live on 7 Mile Beach, it may be one of the condos. Whatever it is, I'm just surprised by it. I'm just floored that we're still talking about. Yeah, it means, you know, we got this, and I was floored by it. You know, when I looked at the amount of cars that were driving half an hour afterwards, I was just like, wow, just unreal. Thank you, Lord, that nothing happened again, Lord. Thank you for your mercy. That's all I can say, Sterling. That's all I can say. Thanks, man.
Thank you for sharing that, and we'll take the final call. Hey, welcome. Thanks for sharing.
Mr. Sterling.
How are you, sir? How are you?
Oh, man, I am just thinking, you know, over the years, certain things inspired me, you know, hurricanes and you know, hearing about other people having tsunamis in other countries and stuff like that. And I was inspired a couple years ago. I started to design something like a spacecraft made out of real tough rubber that you can go inside of it. And if the weather gets too bad, it'll just bounce you around. You know what I'm saying? You can go inside of it. Probably about 4 people can hold inside of it. Shaped like a little saucer. It can just float. The tsunami hit it is tough. You just bounce you around and you just move from place to place and just float. But I wanted someone to sort of invest in me, you know, and work with some people from, I would imagine, from another country. Design them. It's protective. You know, you just go inside of it. You shut the doors, watertight, waterproof. And I'm sharing the idea just in case. Who knows, if someone else want to run with the plan, run with the idea, they can do that, because I don't have any money and I don't have the contacts. But I believe in the plan, and then it can also work. Something else for hurricanes and stuff like that. In case your roof blow off, you know, you can still be protected. I mean, we live in this kind of zone. I just keep talking about that. We got to think proactive and stop. You know, we got to believe in our people. Believe that you got brilliant people. I keep saying that. You got brilliant Caymanians. You got brilliant foreign people. They work together. They come up with plans to protect the lives of the people. You know what I'm saying? And I still believe in that little plan. I still believe in that that little thing that you can be protected.
Yeah, man.
You can with that.
Well, make your plan and, you know, work your plan, right? So I appreciate it. Anything final before we close it out for today?
Well, I'd like to say, Mr. Sterling, my name is Craig Brown. If the government wants to invest a couple dollars in me to work toward designing certain protective material, they can do that. I would love to see these things come to fruition.
Yes, man. Yes, you just keep in prayer. You make sure you're persistent, and at the end of the day, you just make sure that you are not just positive, but you're positioned so that you have a presence, one that is safe, one that is sensible. Enjoy your afternoon, my friend. All right.
All right. Okay.
Talk to you, God's willing, very soon. And again, thanks to everybody, and thanks to our listener who reminded us that the earthquake of 2020 on the 28th of January was recorded at 7.7, and to the caller prior who shared, you know, where are we in our plans and preparations, and is it that, like so many things after the fact, we may still be reeling from it, and the impact of an earthquake is probably more imminent urgent and perhaps for some unsettling than, say, the aftermath of a hurricane. But its approach, being what it is, may give us less time to prepare. Much I could say, but perhaps take a page from others who may find patience actually proves to be more productive. Have a wonderful and enjoyable afternoon. God's willing, you'll be with us tomorrow, as I will you. Sitting and facilitating, hopefully encouraging and nurturing, hopefully finding a space that gives us such cause, not just celebrating champion, but to be able to, in a moment, embrace. All right, God's willing, see you tomorrow.
Talk Today is brought to you by Subway, open 24 hours in Countryside, Anderson Square in Georgetown, and Centennial Towers in West Bay. And by the Ministry of District Administration. Explore your history, explore your land, explore your sister islands. And Cayman Airways, call them on 949-2311 to book your nonstop flights to Los Angeles and Panama. And Doctors Hospital, peace of mind is important when life happens. Doctors Hospital, always there for you. Call 949-6066.